Okay, thank you very much. Welcome to our lesson. I'm Mr. Omar Zifuna, and the teacher SUMEYA Integrated. Since we covered the last topic, we are moving to the next new topic, which is food and nutrition. But before I start there, I will have to remind my learners all the topics that you learned in lower classes that deals with food and nutrition in relation with this topic we are starting today. Okay, before we proceed on, you have to understand that in your lower classes you are able to cover some of the subtopics that are in relation to this, and you remember questions might come in any side. After covering all this topic, you will have to meet question concerning the topics you covered in your lower classes. So you have to go through them first before you start learning about foods and nutrition in your candidate class. Now, what are some of the topics related to you covered in your lower classes? We have types of foods that you covered in your lower. We have the cereals, the legumes, and also fruits and vegetables you covered in your lower classes. You also remember the topic balanced diet that you covered in your grade 4. Balanced diet, we have the 3 rule. The 3 rule, we have the carbohydrates, we have the proteins, and we have the vitamins. These are what we call the rule of 3. These are what we call the rule of 3. For somebody to have a balanced diet, you must have taken the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the vitamins. That is the topic related you covered in grade 4. Now, in grade 5 also you covered something you have to remind yourself, very important, we call nutritional deficiency diseases. Nutritional deficiency diseases. Where you said that nutritional deficiency diseases are diseases somebody suffer from after lacking some of the important nutrients in the body. If you lack a different nutrient, you find that there are so many elements that can affect you. For example, we have, if you lack protein in your body, you will suffer from kwashiorkor. If you lack iron, we have anemia, we have rickets, we have marasmus, and to so many diseases which are nutritional deficient disease. So go through them. They are in course book standard 5. Then in standard 6, without forgetting, you also dealt with what we call preservation of foods. Preservation of foods, or we can say methods of food preservation. Now, here you discuss about 2 different methods. One, you discuss about traditional method of preserving foods, and you also talked about modern method of preserving foods. The 2 methods, you are able to remember some of the traditional methods. We have smoking, we have drying, use of low temperature, use of ash, use of honey. Those are some of the traditional methods that were used long time ago to preserve food for future use. And we also have modern methods that are currently used. We have the canning, we have refrigeration, use of low temperature. It is also drying. So there are also questions that are coming from this sector, a very important topic. If you have forgotten, please go back to those standards and learn about them, because at the end I will have general question covering from lower classes up to the last topic. Now, under food and nutrition, now standard 8, we will have to discuss about these. We will have to cover foods, nutrition requirements for special groups. Nutritional requirements for special groups, we will also discuss about food poisoning, we will also discuss about agents of food poisoning, and lastly we will also have to discuss about methods of preventing food poisoning. Methods of preventing food poisoning. Good. Now, after that point, we will have covered everything concerning food and nutrition. After covering nutritional requirement for special groups, food poisoning, agents of food poisoning, and also method of preventing food poisoning, now you will have covered everything concerning foods and nutrition in primary level. Now, to start with, this one I will cover later. Let me start with the first one, nutritional requirement for special groups. Nutritional requirement for special groups. When I talk about nutritional requirement for special groups, these are people with special cases. For example, we can say we people are not the same. We might have one person suffering from a disease, one person having a certain problem, one person having a certain physical problem, or one or another things that can make you be called a special group. We also have different ages. We have a young one, we have a middle-aged gentleman, or middle-aged people, and we also have aged or old people who also have different nutritional requirements. Okay, now let me start. Which are these special groups? When you talk of special group people, what are they? One, we have pregnant or expectant mothers. Let me record them here. Pregnant or expectant mothers. Two, lactating or nursing mothers. Number three, we have people living with HIV and AIDS. Number four, we have infants and babies. Number five, we have invalids. Number five, a certain group known as invalids. We also have convalescents. We have number seven, vegetarians. We have number eight. Elderly people. We have elderly people. We have manual workers. We have manual workers. Okay. Those one I think are some of the special groups I want to discuss about. Then from there we will move on. What are the special nutrients do they need? I start with the first group, which is pregnant or expectant mothers. What do we mean when we talk of pregnant or expectant mothers? These are women who are expecting to deliver. We say between that period of conceiving to parturition, those are expectant mothers. That is the period of 9 months. You remember our first unit in this class, we talked about the process of fetal development, since the period of conceiving to period of parturition. So that is now what we call expectant. A mother after conceiving to that period of 9 months before delivering, we call that mother is expectant, from the English word expecting, or we can say is a pregnant mother. Now you understand that that baby in the womb is depending on the mother. The nutritional requirement of the baby or the mother, so there are two. It depends on the mother. So the mother will need at least some additional nutrients to make sure that the baby is growing, is healthy, and also is having healthy deliverance. Okay, number 2, we'll have to discuss about the foods given to the mother later on. Now allow me to move to the second group. We have to understand them first. Who are they and how can we call them special? It is because they are having something special. Okay, lactating or nursing mothers, what are they? When you talk about nursing, from the English word nurse, it is self-explanatory. A nurse, what is the function of a nurse? Somebody who is taking care of another person in the hospital, maybe assisting a sick person who is not able to do 1 or 2, 3 things. Now, a nursing mother or lactating mother is a mother who has given birth to a young child and is taking care of that child. You understand, is breastfeeding. Young children commonly depend on breast milk, so the mother is breastfeeding the child. So the mother will need additional nutrients, special nutrients. We call them special groups because they need special nutrients to provide that breast milk to feed the young one. So we say the mother is lactating or is nursing. So another special group. Number 3, we talked about people living with HIV. These are people who are HIV positive. They have contracted the disease HIV/AIDS. So they are special in which way? You understand, the body is lacking the defensive mechanism, that is white blood cells, so any disease can strike that person. For you to be strong, you need an additional nutrient, extra nutrient that is required for the prosperity of the person living with HIV, and also great care of that person. So that is another group of a special person that needs special care. Now, we also, number 3, babies and infants. These are young children that needs to grow. They have to grow. They are 1 year old, 3 years old. They are still young and they need to rapidly develop and grow. So they are another group of special. There is another special group that needs additional nutrients for their functionings and healthy growth. And then we have invalids. Who are these invalids? Invalids are people that are staying with an ailment. People having several diseases. You might be diabetic, for example. You might be diabetic, you might be having typhoid, you might be having cholera, dysentery, different diseases. So if you are staying with such diseases, then we say you are special. When you stay with such a person, you have to supply additional nutrient to the person to make sure that the person is proceeding on well and recovering very fast. So those are what we call invalids. Invalids, people living with an ailment. We have so many diseases. So if you have a disease, we call them invalids. So this is also another group of, this is another special group that requires special nutrients. Now number 6, we have convalescents. Convalescents, the way you pronounce now, you are your pre-unit teacher will determine the way you pronounce the word. Convalescent or convalescent, these are a special group of people who are recovering from an ailment. They have been suffering for long. After treatment, you start recovering. You have not you have not fully recovered, but you are in the process of recovering, so you are called a convalescent. So the type of food, maybe you are advised to be given this certain type of food. So when you start recovering, you find that you reduce and increase another type of nutrient according to the prescription of the doctor. So we call them convalescent. You have to take care of such a group and provide the nutrient that is needed as they recover. Now, number 7, we have the group known as vegetarians. Vegetarians. What are vegetarians? This is a group of people that, if they are animal, I can call them herbivorous. They only feed on greens. They don't feed on animal product or animals meat. They don't feed on meat. They don't feed on milk, eggs, animal product. No, they only feed on green plants only. Those are vegetarians. So this is another special group of people that needs great care and important nutrients to make sure that they are growing healthy and they have perfect and smooth life. Now, lastly, we have a group known as elderly people, people who are growing old. We have different ages. For example, in your family, you might have a child who is 3 years. We have a person who is 20 years. We have a person who is 50 years. And we have a grandmother who is 90 years. These are different people with different ages. Now, the nutrient given to this person, 3 years, 20 years, might be different. Why? Because we can say this is a person who is very old, 90 years. You might find maybe it's lacking some of the nutrient needed. You find that the person might be lacking teeth because of the age or whatever might have caused. So you have to make sure that you are giving this person great care and providing the nutrients required by the body to make sure that he is coping up with the life well. The person who is 3 years, 20 years, these are different people from this one. Now, this is an elderly people. How can you take care of this? Which type of food are you supposed to give this person who is 100 years old, 90 years old, 95 years old, to make sure that they are coping up very well and also enjoying life? So you have to provide the required nutrients to this person to make sure that he is having a good life. Now, lastly, we have manual workers. Who are these people? They are special people. Manual workers, these are people who are doing difficult jobs, carrying stones, working from morning to evening. They need a lot of energy. Manual workers, you see, there is different jobs. We have white collar jobs, and we have manual workers. White collar jobs is that person who goes to the office, sits with a laptop, operates, prints papers, and the day is gone. But a manual worker person is carrying stones, is carrying heavy loads. So this person needs a lot of energy. Which type of food are you supposed to give this person to make sure that he's having that energy to work? Manual workers. Okay, now those are special groups we will have to discuss. Now, as I go deeply, next lesson I will be talking now about which type of food, which nutrients is providing the pregnant mothers, and why are we providing that type of food. You can read ahead of me in your textbooks as I come now to have an easy work as we summarize that subtopic, pregnant or expectant mothers. Now that one is the end of my lesson today. Thank you very much.